Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, today's topic is afterplay. Yes, there is foreplay, which is what this is, but it's after sex. After you had your orgasm, that man has ejaculated. It is the little things that you do after it. There's that foreplay before and gets us all in the mood. Then we get in the mood and we, go full force into that sexual act, get to our orgasms, and we're feeling elated. But then it's just those little things right on after. That little foreplay after that is so sensitive, so intense that we cannot stop ourselves. I'm going to go over some tips today and examples of afterplay and all that good stuff. Obviously, you don't want the feeling to end. Feeling of being in the mood, bonding with your partner, and all that comes across as that. Now, afterplay is that cuddling, kissing, spooning, etc., which occurs after sex. Most women will tell you, the sex was great, but I wish there was more afterplay. That is a very crucial time. I mean, yes, all times leading to, during, but after, most people, if you are in the bed and the guy gets up and he just gets up and he walks away or whatever, and you're just there, it's kind of sort of, you get a little insulted because, you just went through all this, you had this great orgasm, the two of you were like in sync with each other and the like, and then he just gets up or she just gets up and boom, they go downstairs to get something to drink or they get in the shower, and that is so impersonal feeling after that moment. There are some who get up and, leave, and in the morning they're gone, and what do you say? Oh, you didn't say goodbye. So there are these things. there are other ways of looking at that as well. It's a play game. So always with that word play in there. So afterplay is that after time. Some women will actually stop performing fellatio, which is a blowjob, head if you want to call it that, right after their partner ejaculates. But instead of stopping, you should just really continue to stimulate either orally or with your hand for a minute or two longer. Because as with a woman and a man, after we climax, after we have that awesome orgasm, we are very sensitive. Our little titillating sexual impulses are right on the end, and it helps a little bit more to get out more or even to go into a new orgasm. Sometimes this feeling is way too intense to handle, so a lot of people will stop you for doing it. But you really need to just keep it up. It keeps it going, and then after that, that little bit of afterplay will lead right into that cuddle, because now you got him hooked. You got your partner hooked. And, I mean, it could be someone you've been married to for a very long time. Or it could be somebody that you just met this first time you went to bed together. Either way, afterplay is just as important as foreplay. Foreplay gets us in the mood and playing around in that little tease here and there to make you want it more and just get to that orgasm. But that afterplay gives it that little kick more to keep it going. And then there's keeps that mood, brings you down. There are times where, it is a very bonding feeling. So you got to remember, you've got to keep moving and keep that feeling going, because you want them back for more. You want to keep doing that. You want to grow that. Now, there are 5 reasons, which, when researching afterplay, they say you got 5 reasons you must engage in afterplay post-sex. Alrighty then. Afterplay is one of those stages in sex that you don't want to ignore, because it will make or break the connection, first of all. Also, it's also a way of finding out if your partner wants more, wants to see more, can handle more. It's just bringing them down. And obviously, we all know that after sex, generally the man just will roll over and go to sleep, get a little bit of rest, then roll back over and find some more. Want some more because they got that little bit of rest and their penis is back up and popping. So there are ways of looking at that. It's just one of those things that you never really think about. And I believe that I don't even think people will realize that it's even happening when they're doing it. But become more conscientious of it is great, because you now are looking at how it's making your partner feel. Now, a lot of people love it, partners love it when they roll over and the first thing you do is spoon. And they put their arm around you and everything. Nowadays, men or partners are trying to continue that orgasm and keep it going and everything. And they'll try about everything to do it. Like I said, when men are done generally with sex and, having that orgasm, obviously their penis goes down, so their, erection is kind of stunted, to say the least. And they would, really prefer falling asleep. In some cases, fidgeting with gadgets post-sex, while, us women want some more romance. And there's some of that romance right there. It's located and combined in with that afterplay. That afterplay, that foreplay post-sex. And that is exactly what afterplay is about. Some men don't even realize they're doing it. They're just there because this is their partner for life. They're madly in love with them, and they just think that's what that is. Let's cuddle after, and the woman's happy. You don't realize how much it means to your partner, but for some odd reason, it does mean something. So some of the reasons are why you must involve afterplay post-sex. It creates a stronger bond. I just said that. Yay! It improves that bond between you and your partner. And it's really, really important in most relationships. There's the afterplay of cuddling, massaging, or doing that little light finger caress of just going down the line of your partner's body. It actually brings you two together as partners closer mentally and strengthens that relationship. And it's been known, believe it or not, that cuddling after sex helps you get pregnant. Is that a little weird or what? Okay. I mean, seriously, that I'm learning. I did not even know that. But you think about it. You're relaxed, you're cuddling, you're continuing with that light stroke, and they're just happily just swimming along to, those little tadpoles going up there to meet up with their little eggy friends. And, they got to get their groove on too in there. Second reason afterplay is so important is that it allows the female to cool down. I mean, they only pinpoint the female, but I'm sure it also works in any relationship and brings your body down. But because women take our time to cool down completely afterwards, like I said, men just need that few minutes of rest and boom, they're ready to go again. Women, they need a little bit more. And for the most part, women are craving, that little bit more intimacy in there. And that craving is satisfied with afterplay. It's as it's actually explained, is afterplay acts as a sign of respect to your a woman's needs for intimacy after sex so that she can cool down completely. So there's that intimacy, that growth of intimacy, and just feeling comfortable with your partner, with that woman. So remember how that feels. And nowadays, a lot of men are more in touch with their female side. And that doesn't mean anything. It just means that you are in touch with both. And that you want to feel these things as well. So remember that. Another reason, it develops a healthy relationship. It has a positive impact on your relationship. With afterplay, it actually involves communication and caressing after sex. It doesn't bring the sex completely to an end. It allows you to basically glide and come down comfortably in the arms of somebody that you just had amazing sex with, had an amazing orgasm with, and you just want to just be able to feel that because your sexual thoughts and your sexual feelings are real, your body's they're intense at that moment. You might even share some deep thoughts at that time, or, whisper sweet nothings in her ear or his ear. And that can continue for a few days after. There are things that you can do after sex and where you will bond with your partner. So, not only the caressing, not only the massaging, it has so many, to even just pick one, there isn't just one. You can think of things on your own, make up things that you feel would work in that. Another reason with after sex is more enjoyable sex. Sex becomes better each time after that. When you have that afterplay, sex is like better. It is just so, you're looking forward to it more. You want to engage it more. And which afterplay should be engaged regularly. That, unless you want to do that where you get up and just do something and you want to see what that response is. Will your partner come and find you? Will, did you have an effect? How was the sex? That question there. And it's going to be on both your minds. Probably more of the woman than the man, but because we're still going through a cooling down period. On that note, we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we will finish up with these reasons that you should engage in afterplay after sex or post sex, if you want to get technical. So get that drink, get that snack, come back, get relaxed, and I'll meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am still your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, where we left off, or what we were working on, shall I say, in the end of the last segment, were the reasons why you should have or engage in afterplay post-sex. And we ended off on more enjoyable sex it will bring you, which, most people, especially women, if they know that the foreplay and the afterplay is going to be great, amazing, out of this world, most 99.9% will reciprocate that during sex. So remember that. Our last reason for engaging in, I'm sure there's a heck of a lot more, but we're just going over a few, is makes way for more sex. Like I said, when you are engaging in afterplay, that little kissing on the nape of the neck, that little massaging of your partner's back, or how you just run your finger, caress down the line of each other's body, and it's while they are still bare, so you're getting that lovely sensation, which even during that cooling down stage is just working wonders and is such a sensation. And you can actually turn around and take that afterplay and transform it back into foreplay, where you go on a second round of sex. Remember, if you're doing all this and you have her attention, you are going to seriously get more sex. And you may have a marathon sex night where multiple orgasms are just getting all over the place. Now we are going to be moving on to tips of afterplay and, things that you can do. And then in the end, the last segment, I'll go over some ways to write, some examples of some steamy sex letters that you can write your partners, which you can, just transition those into one awesome foreplay, right back into that awesome sex, that awesome orgasm, and into afterplay. So you need to start that somewhere, which is, altogether great. You don't even want to think a second thought on that one. So that's what we're going to do in the last segment. It is always, always fun to find new and healthy ways to make your sex life much more steamy. Now, afterplay tips for maximum pleasure. Like earlier stated, that foreplay and afterplay are essential and very, very important for a pleasurable sexual experience, because our sex hormones are running ragged. So you really, really want to keep the body stimulated. It desires bonding right after, and there's where that lovely afterplay comes in. But we gotta, you want to appreciate the lovemaking skills of your partner. It's good. You want to portray, you want to show that romantic side to your partner. These are ways to get that message across. They are not anything that needs to have a deep thought process to them. So don't sit there and overthink it. Just go with the flow of what your body is telling you and what the flow of her body is telling you, or your partner. A couple of tips that you can do is, if you are really craving a more relaxing and sensual session, the two of you can actually just, your partner can position themselves. So you're laying on your side. And this actually is better, both of you laying on your sides and facing each other. And then you just, trace light circles on your partner's torso, either the male or the female. You can start at the top of his body or her body and just work your way down with that little caressing finger. And then go to the navel. Then go over the skin with the pelvic bone. And then you can go right back up. It's a totally totally sensational feeling, especially after sex. You can even go further up where you're caressing the collarbone and then you're going down to the hip bones. Like I said, get a little creative, but use both looking at each other. You're maintaining an intimate post-passion gaze at each other. So that's where that's all coming from. You're still feeling it, so you want to push that along and out. When you are both reciprocating it to each other, you could actually build on that little touch. Because if you're now getting back into the foreplay mode after afterplay, you can start, roll over in your stomach. I want to give you a massage while you're straddling him from behind or straddling her from behind. Don't get too heavy, because if you're heavy, you don't want to hurt your partner. You just want to maybe lightly bounce or push and tap like your fingertips along your partner's back or butt, and they'll jiggle. It's that little bit of sensitivity. Remember, the further you go down, you're hitting those perineum nerves, which sexually drive you crazy anyway. So remember that the further you're going down, the more afterplay you're doing, and how you're intensifying as you go along. We'll flip-flop that afterplay right back into foreplay, and here comes that sex again. Another way that we all love, it doesn't matter sexually or not, we love getting into the shower, a warm shower maybe, or just that shower, the feeling of the water running on your body from head to toe. Your partner can be watching you and, caressing your hair down while it's wet, just watching the water fall off of it. You take a shower or a bath, because both are very relaxing. When you get in the bath, you can actually, your partner can sit there and you can sit in between their legs and just lean back on them, and the two of you can just sit and, push the water around while the water is beating. Pick some water up and just put it where it's going to roll down her chest or something. These are things that you need to think of, because a shower in a bath brings comfort and relaxation. This is a great way to have some form of afterplay. If your partner's going to wash you, they can start at the top where your shoulder and neck is and lightly massage at the same time they're soaping you up. And then you're going to, they're going to go down slowly. But then you could just press up against each other. Like I said, you can snuggle in the shower, you can snuggle in the bath. It is so much fun. I'm sure most people have tried it. And especially in the shower, if you're sudsing up your partner, their body becomes slick, a little bit slippery there. So you are just feeling how your hand is going over the contours of your partner's body. You are getting heated up. Your bodies are close. It actually, in most cases, it will prolong the post-orgasmic, what you have best way to explain it is what you have been going through. It just prolongs it and keeps it going, and it just follows it down until your body is ready to come down and completely. And then you can just so totally relax, go to sleep together in each other's arms. Although, even like, as the way it gets you re-stimulated, or will turn this all around again, and where you're going to round 2 or 3. As the hot water hits your skin, it's stimulating the blood flow and circulation. And that is what's keeping your body feeling aroused, which will just turn around and continue to stimulate you back into another orgasm. You don't have to get out of the shower or the tub. You can stay right there. That is the whole idea. No need to leave there. You're just in another place, having more sex, enjoyable sex. This one might even be that much more sensual, and it doesn't have to be the hot and bothered, the nice transition from cooling down to heating back up, and just letting the flow, that little trickle of the hand or the fingertips just going down your body. There's one thing that most people are so totally turned on, is if you're just sitting there and your hand is on your partner, or whatever the case may be, or you're just sitting there even watching TV. Most people will take their finger and just, lightly touch the arm and hand of their partner, or might even mess with their hair a little. You're sitting there. That is turning that partner around. But that little bit of what you believed was not foreplay is foreplay. But that same foreplay can be swapped into afterplay, because that caress is the feeling. You're doing it already. Then you get hot bothered, you go full force into foreplay. Then you go into full force into sex. But that afterplay, what you started with while you were just sitting there caressing, is exactly how you would do afterplay, to go from that cooling down to that heating up again, and going back in and you're getting more orgasms with or without having sex. And then you get into sex and you have another big orgasm. Remember, when that ends, continue again. Then your body will get to the point where you're like, okay, I think we really need, to go to sleep or something, or just to relax. And two of you can go to sleep together. So there are ways to do these things, and it is there for your enjoyment. Afterplay is one of those things. It has a lot of things that are intertwined with it, and you work them without any thought process. You just do it. Unless, of course, it is that one night stand. You get up and bye-bye, see you later. Hey, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It's there. So we are going to take another break here. And when we come back, I will definitely talk about some examples of afterplay or things of the nature, and then finish out that, followed up by some steamy sex letter examples that you can write to your partners to get them all turned on. And you start making your own time capsule with those things. But hey, go replenish that drink and that snack. Come back, meet me here again for some more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, our topic has been about afterplay. Yes, it is a form of foreplay, but it is after sex. It's more sensual, more bonding. Yes, bonding. It is more intimate. You are still in the mood. It's a way of prolonging that and possibly going right back into a full out blown foreplay again. Now, if you have a partner, a man who comes in with his A game, both before and after, he knows what he's doing. So let him do it. The sex is going to be phenomenal. So remember that. Now we are going to talk and bring in some other aspects of afterplay with 7 ways, just 7 for right now, to easily incorporate afterplay into sex. Sex does not have to be routine. Sex can be what you make it, as long as you enjoy it with who you're with. So remember that. Obviously, the first way, and the most popular way of foreplay and afterplay, which is our topic. And remember, in our last segment, we will talk about, I'll give some examples of some sexy, steaming love sex letters you can send to your partner, which can be used as foreplay and to get your partner thinking about you when you are not together. Partners like that stuff when you do that little thing for them. So, back to ways or what you can incorporate into afterplay. Obviously, kissing. Oh my God. It is the best. Kissing is steamy. You can lose yourself in your partner's lips. If you know they are seriously an amazing kisser. You can keep up with each other's breath, inhaling it back and forth. You can stick a little dirty talk in there, or try screaming at the top of your lungs, but kissing is one of these best things that you and your partner can do to reconnect when you have orgasmed. So generally, if you notice once you guys are done, most couples automatically go to that light kiss, that also ever slight tug where your partner tugs on your bottom lip with that little light kiss, or that little licking of your lips from your partner. It is really a way of sending you or bringing you down and just helping you build that bond and that sexual intensity, because that is what it is. Now, kissing does trigger the love hormone, oxytocin, in our lovely, complicated bodies. And then it can create an immediate feeling of warmth and safety. So the kiss is very sentimental and can build on that sentimentality. So that is one way to go about it. And when your mate starts to fall asleep, and most men do it, and don't say you don't, because you like to just roll over. But if your man does not do that, and that afterplay is there, he's there to, he's there for business. And it's to make you feel that what just went on was very amazing. And next is the cuddle, which usually always follows the kiss. Or you could cuddle and then just start lightly kissing your partner's body, caressing their body with your lips. But cuddling is a major afterplay. I mean, sometimes some people don't like. We have been getting really high temperatures here. It is the summer, so it might be a little hot. If you don't want to do afterplay in the bed because you are too sweaty, or whatever some people like it sweat and you're flying all over the place. But you can go into the shower or the bath and do it. If you are planning on knowing that your body is so relaxed you're going to go to sleep in your partner's arms, then please do run a bath and get those little bathroom pillows that go onto the tub and just sit there and enjoy each other's company until the water goes cold, because one of you will wake up. So don't think that you won't. And that's generally how that happens in the tub. So don't ever think that you are quietly immune by that, because you aren't. Our bodies say one thing while you're possibly saying another, but your body is going to basically get up and tell you, no, we're going to do this. So do that, because that is probably going to be very much enjoyable. It's very affectionate, and physically and emotionally. So remember that. That emotional intimacy is very important in a relationship. So don't think that it is not. But a little fun fact on which is cuddling is also able to reduce anxiety, lower bodily inflammation, ease chronic pain, strengthen your immune system, and Lord knows we need that now more than ever. And believe it or not, make it easier for both of you to fall asleep. I don't think we needed to know that, because I think our bodies would have did it anyway. Remember, we are getting exercise during this whole thing here. So remember that. Fondling. Now, I had mentioned this in the last segment, by where you're just sitting there with your partner and you're just fondling their hand and arm with your finger, just lightly rubbing it or up and down or around. That ever so light touch is what will definitely start to drive you crazy. Or you could be out and just basically sitting with each other and enjoying each other and being face to face, and your partner puts their hand on your shoulder and just starts, rubbing your shoulder, or his fingers across your shoulders. Just, they might even just take your hair and lightly just pull it to the back. Get it out of your face ever so lightly. Remember, this is a very good thing. Fondling is part of foreplay. Foreplay is part of afterplay. So whatever you're doing there, it comes up. So, and believe it or not, it's been found that the best male lovers know two things. One, that foreplay is paramount because it slows them down while giving their partner time to warm up, so they can control their erection, their ejaculation time. They can slow it down because they're so busy watching you. Although I cannot say that works for everybody, but it does. It does allow for your partner to let you warm up. The second thing, it's best if the male focus is on their partner getting off before they do it. So before you have that sex, your partner is basically getting you off. And it is known that men do come in 5 minutes. I mean, I'm sure there are gadgets like a little penis ring you can put on which prolongs that to make it go a little longer. But some men like to get that done, get out of the way, do that little bit of afterplay, and they're getting hot and bothered again, and they're coming back up. But that afterplay helps you. And this way, you're going for that second round, it's going to be longer. It's going to be more intense because you work a little harder with the foreplay and the afterplay just to get you up again to have a substantial orgasm. You got to find that little sweet spot again, but it is generally that little foreplay after is very, very good. Now, after you've gone through all of that and you have that, in your afterplay, hey, engage in oral sex. Because remember, both of you just had an amazing orgasm, and you're slowly working your way up. So that afterplay is going right into foreplay. And it's basically a 100% chance that you'll get sex again. And, plenty with a chance of meatballs. But hey, who's to say? You're going to get some little things going there. A little cunnilingus. And remember that is, that little oral play there on the female with the clitoris, which is our little weakness for the most part, shall I say. There are a lot of weakness parts on our body that we have, and most men will try very hard to figure those out. Trust me, that's like their main goal in life sometimes. Next would be watch a movie. pick what you want. If you just sit there and pick a movie stress-free, a funny one, a romantic one, hell, you might even want to break out the porno. Who's to say you're looking at it in a different light? I don't think it would be one that you would want to do right off the bat, but just watch a movie. You're relaxing. You don't gotta get dressed, stay naked. Who cares? Talk. That little pillow talk is a great way with communication. It gets, 10 to 1, they'll, ask, how was it? How are you feeling? Or you may just talk about something altogether different, but just talk. Get silly. Crack a joke. Who cares? Talking is very, very important and very, very great. Probably a lot of oxymorons in there, but really, really great afterplay to work with while you're either caressing or fondling your body, your partner's body, and you're spooning. Who's to say? You could be facing each other. This is probably one of the best ways to do it. Face each other, laying on your sides, and just talk. The hands may be right in between the two of you. Do that light caress over each other's hand. You are engaging in afterplay. Now, believe it or not, after a wild night of sex, and we're working on the afterplay, get some food. Get replenished, or just sit there with your partner naked and eat some food. Because remember, you have to replenish your body. You have just had one major exercise workout there, and you got to replenish to go on to the next. So we're going to take a break here. That ends our 7 examples, or 7 ways, shall I say, to incorporate afterplay in post-sex. It is to keep it going. So, if you'd like to get up and replenish your drink or your snack and get relaxed, go ahead and do that now. You don't have to. You have done that already. But stay tuned, stay put, and I'll be back with more talk, more sex talk with Andra.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, with a topic about sex. It's from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we left off at the end of the last segment with some ways or some examples that you can of afterplay that can be incorporated into sex. Now, when we do those, this is to show that there is a surefire way that sex wasn't for nothing. When you have afterplay, sex was not for nothing. And there are ways to, and things to do that you can do. And we're going to go over those. And then we're going to end off the show with some examples of some steamy sex letters you can send your partners, as promised. So let's get right to it and start off with mouth off. Now, we did talk about oral sex in the bed in the last segment. This actually, you're going to engage in it, and when he's doing it to you, his attention should be focused on your clitoris and that area around your anus and up and down your labia, because there are a million nerve endings down there. So if he wants to seriously be getting some more later, he might want to do that. Because we are starting, like when we first started out this sex act on this day, foreplay and all that, and it just led right into it. However, we are now post first session of sex. We're going to stick some afterplay moves in there to get it to go into foreplay again. So, and to go back into another great orgasm. So, there's where we are with that. Next one is to put on a show. Get out that rusted, trusted vibrator. Get stimulated or stop masturbating right in front of your partner. And this is very erotic for both of you. And the reason why is because it is self-stimulation. And it with an audience. It pulls you out of your comfort zone. If you are not in a comfort zone, most people are already out of that comfort zone. So put on a real good show, which will get your partner to become aroused again. So this, that's pretty good. Go for a ride. And when I mean a ride, not in the car. Alright? When his penis goes down, and just reverts post-orgasm, which is actually called the refractory period. Start to sit on him and grind his penis. If not his penis, get a leg, start dry humping. It is not for high school anymore. Dry hump it. Get you wet on their leg, which will cause them to start getting excited. So it's a visual and an audio stimulation, which will stimulate and allow your partner to regain that erection from that motion, that watching you grind, and you enjoying it, maybe you're moaning and you're groaning while you're doing it. Another way is to call the shots. Hey, somebody's got to do it. Now, when he is in you and he has orgasm, or he's really super close to orgasm, have him stay inside you a bit longer and just push until you've been sent over the edge. Okay, so that you're getting ready to hit that orgasm. Kind of time it. Sometimes it's very difficult to get simultaneous orgasms, but they do happen if you can control them. If you have difficulty, please masturbate before you get together, or at least the male. This way that you are already able to hold a long erection. Sometimes the better view for the male or the partner is when the woman is on top. And not to mention, she is sitting up there on your penis, riding it. So you're getting that feeling, and she can feel your penis getting erect as she's doing this. It's a view for them. They're watching your boobs go all over the place, but they're also watching how you're enjoying it. And they can take hold of your hips and, put it where they want, or put a little bit more pressure up in there. Next is to take it slow. Now you ask, why? Because it's a way of developing a rhythm. Okay, and you could trace letters like I, O, and U, and then it's giving your clitoris some love there. Have him move towards the vaginal opening and lips with his fingers, okay? And the lips with his fingers. So he's playing around down there. He's making a little O around your clit. He's going up and down with it, going in, a little U, but then he's going around your labia and everything else. So use really slow motion, because with that, it's going to give a maximum impact on the outcome. So remember how that is, because that's where we want to be, and to get off altogether for a second time. Hell, if it goes good, you can go for a third time. Remember, women have more orgasms than we have. A bunch of little, couple of big ones. We can go back down to little ones. All depends. And we know when we're doing it as well, and men love to see that. Now, as promised, I am going to give you a few sexy letters that can be given to your partner. And it's usually the open when ones. So, these are some sexy letters that you can open when. Now, the first one is, you wake up thinking of me. Obviously, there aren't many things that would usually turn anybody on other than the fact that when you wake up and you're thinking about your partner, and there is a little letter with a cute pic of him or her, and that is where your mind is always going to go. The first thing in the morning, that's what, and you're going to think about that all afternoon. Next one is open when. You want to know what drives me crazy. Well, when you're talking about what drives you crazy, in the angry sense, obviously, writing letters, trust me, all that good stuff. But this is not what we're talking about. It's what floats your boat, what tickles your fancy, what tingles your spine, what gets you fired up. Write all that sexy in a letter and give it to your partner. Even if you go by and you put it, in a certain spot, or you even put it in the mail and send it, so you're not exactly sure when it's going to get to them. So when it does get to them, it is an ultimate surprise and a total turn on. Next one, open when. You want to know a favorite fantasy of mine. This is a great way to boost your intimacy. It's also easier sometimes for people to write things about their fantasies and what they want to do or try than it is to actually get up and talk about that face to face with their partner. It is something most people do. Actually, majority people do. But there are also this writing it down, that little fantastical thing that you want to do, writing it down. They have it now in paper. And don't use it against them. They have it in paper and they're reading it and they're thinking, oh, what can I do to make that come true for them, my partner? You know, there are things, some people want to do it in an airplane bathroom, the Mile High Club on an airplane, you know how that one goes. Guys usually want to do it with two women. Nowadays, that's a little bit more easier to do. This is what I'm talking about. These are things. Think about what you want to do sexy and put that in a letter and send it to your partner. And, you know, you can sit there and time it as well. If you know their routine in the morning, that they go out to the mail at a certain hour, go there at night, put something in the mailbox, and they'll get it in the morning when they go to the mailbox. Or when you go to work and they're still there, they're going to go get the mail from the mailbox and they're going to find it. And now you're off to work. They're reading that sexy, you know, letter. And now they're thinking about you because they can't do anything aside from imagining how it would be while reading this and masturbate. And they're going to want you even more. So open when you want to know something about you that I find super sexy. So, being desired obviously is a huge turn on for both sexes, but learning about it is great for your partner because your partner can try these techniques that are going to do this to get you on. They know where to go to your sweet spot. And they're like, so remember that, write it in that steamy sex letter and give it to them. Open when you want to know something about you I really love. It could be gushy. It doesn't have to all be about the straight sex talk. But write something that's going to be quite heartfelt by your partner. Because that is a total turn on which will set all juices a-flowing. So remember that. Open when you want to know something about you I think is beautiful. Write that letter. Tell them what you see or how you see them and how beautiful they are to you. And how, you know, it's going to make them blush. And how you just want to be there to see that. So you might want to hold on to that letter, bring it with you and say, you know, I wrote you something today. I was thinking about you. I wrote you a sexy letter. So remember that. And it's just to let you know how beautiful I think you are. Open when you want to know something you do to me that I adore. Most people, it's a good morning text. Good morning sunshine, you know what I mean? Being tagged in memes. I'm not a big social media person, but a lot of people love them. And they are nice to get because I have received some. Thank you. But there are those where you can be put in that or just get sent one straight out. A small kiss on the shoulder just when the two of you are together or before you're going to leave, get that small kiss on the shoulder and go off to work. There are little gestures. All of these gestures and these things that you're going to do and write in these sexual letters is building that affection and connection. So we're really trying to do this. And the last one that is going to end our show is open when you want to know what gives me the most pleasure. So you really want to know what turns, well, at least you know what turns you on. Helps to turn on your partner. So write that in a sex letter. Bring it down a little bit. Don't go too out there hardcore unless you want to try and see how that's going to work. Or he, wouldn't mind that. Go for it. I mean, there's like saying that you enjoy holding your partner's hands while you're walking, and just having that sweet little conversation. Putting your head on their shoulder might be one of those things that gives them pleasure, because it is you're comfortable with them. So there are others. Actually, I want to give you one more. How's that one? So open when you want to know my sexual boundaries, soft/hard limits. And this is really communicating in that letter, that rough and that soft. Those boundaries, putting them out there, is a total turn on. Because you might turn around and say, I love it when you invade me in different ways. This is a way of showing that you like it, and that you are going to you have boundaries at one point in time. I mean, some people are afraid to say things out loud, especially when it comes to sex and with their partners. Writing that sex letter to your partner can aid in that and help you to get over that little bit of shyness. Because you can write, most people know this, you can write a letter. It's easier because you're not looking at that person. You're not having to say it in front of them and then feeling embarrassed if you don't get it reciprocated or you get tongue-tied. So writing that sexy letter and giving strict instructions on when and where to open it. You can put that on there. But this is a form of a way of foreplay and afterplay, believe it or not. Because you could go through everything, foreplay, have sex, and then you're there, engaging in afterplay, and then you I wrote you this letter today. So remember, it is how you view it and how you do it. There are several other ways to write sexual letters to your partner. But remember, put on an open when. And there you go. So that is the end of my show. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the GSMC podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I enjoyed being your host and would like you to really remind you to subscribe to the show and leave us good feedback or reviews, because it really helps me and it helps us as a whole here at GSMC Podcast Network. So also do follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You will find us there. Show your support. And as always, please practice safe sex, if not for yourself, for your partner. So thank you again for tuning in. Have an awesome night. And I'll see you back again to talk more sex talk with Andra.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.